Hello and welcome to my first ever tutorial. It's gonna be a text one because people wanted text, so I'm going to do text. So I'm going to get my Lightroom, which is Shadow and Flash's customizable Lightroom. Why is it over here? I'm not too sure. But yeah, what I normally like to do with my Lightroom is I like to set this so it's green, so it still like works as an actual Lightroom, and then set this to red, and then actually you can't see most of it, so it doesn't get in your way. I'm just gonna make, don't hate, crap at tutorials, first time ever doing it, don't hate. So to get text, you just go Mo Graph here and go Mo Text. It's gonna take a year because, it didn't take a year, but it's gonna take some time. I'll do tutorial, I guess, and you want to put this to probably middle, unless you're weird. In that case, just keep it where you want. I like the depth to be roughly 50 to like 70. I normally use 65, so I used 65 for this. Font. Load, please. So, I've got a bunch of fonts. don't know which one to use. But for different fonts, I have like different styles. So, say it's, I'll find an example. Where is it? Here, Pieces of 8. This would normally be a bit more randomized, and I'd have, say, the R being the main attraction, have this behind or something. But that's all like based on the font. For this font, I normally... Oh yeah, you can get two cameras, by the way, by doing this. Window, new view panel, and then you can dock it. So, I like to do that. But you can, with this font, which is Otaku Rant, I normally like to duplicate it, like make a layer behind, go caps, fillet cap, and fillet cap, which makes it stand out a bit more. You make a group by selecting the layers and pressing Alt and G, and what did I do? I don't know. Okay, that's a bit better. Oh dear. Lightroom, please move yourself back a bit. Tiny bit more. There we go. And so I normally like to do that, and then you can name the group whatever you want, so I'll just name it text. With this font, I would normally add a bend, drag it up, and then go here, and this is the bit that I'm going to make it so it's lengthwise the same as the text, so roughly like 600, I think. No, this is a long piece of text, so 900 is good for this one. And you just drag this into the group, and you can either pull on this orange bit, but it can be a bit all over the place sometimes, or you can change this thing here to change the angles. So with this, I would normally pull the text back a bit, and at the front I would get sometimes a twist, so it's not completely bland at the front. Wait, no, not twist. What am I talking about? Where is it? I know it's one of these. Maybe a benders. Oh, that looks really weird. I don't know what I did at the front. I did something once. So, that's pretty much how I would make text in that kind of font. Say for a more bold font. Let's go middle. And also demos are normally like a really nice bold font, so I use that a lot. Tutorial. So it's all central and stuff. And there are multiple things I like to do with bold fonts because you can do a lot of diverse things with them. What did I don't know. So I normally press C, which like chops it up. You can make materials by double tapping in here and then double tapping on it, and then you can change it. I normally like to do object soft shadow, and for this I guess I'll just do a blue. This will be for the thumbnail. So what color do I like? I like white, and I just like to copy the white, and I'm gonna do a blue, like a diamond blue. Oops. So those are kind of the colours. And a trick that I rarely do now, but I used to do it quite a bit, is you go here, you hold it down, and you go atom array. You select your letter in here or wherever. So just drag this out. I don't know why it makes so many of those, but you have to duplicate it. And then you drag the T into the atom array, and it makes something like this, but the default thing looks like shocking, so I never use it like the default way. So sometimes you can use single elements, which does this, and it looks nice. Sphere radius I normally like to set to 1, so it gets rid of the little like circular bits in the corners. You can untick that, and then you literally just have like a nice outline. Cylinder radius is these, I believe. I'm not doing 2. Hold on, let me change it. But those are the little thingies, so I like to set those to 1. You can group these, so it'll be like, this would be T. Then for you, I could do something like this. I go caps, fill a cap, and add this little bit behind that I did for the other thing. But like with the bold fonts, I kind of like to make it diverse so it pops out and stuff. So just drag these two, Alt G to combine, type that, make that a U, and then you have the group, so you can select the group. So the T and the U are a little bit too close, so I'm going to move the T. And to change where this little thing is, because sometimes I don't know why it just glitches out, so press the enable axes, drag it to where you want it, disable it, and then you can do all that again. So I'm going to like have it so it goes in front a bit, so it looks decent. I'm going to have the U go behind a bit, and it's going to be a tiny bit bigger than the T, so it pops a bit more. This T I'm just going to angle in front. I'm going to go fillet cap, and engraved. So we've got 3 different things going on here, but the diversity looks really nice. I wouldn't normally actually do the 3. I would normally have the U, get rid of this, do fillet cap, and then set that to engraved, so it would be, so it would have quite a bit of diversity to it. It wouldn't have as much, so it was more repetitive, and it would just look like, it'll look better if it's repetitive and it's consistent. That's what I like anyway. So we've got this bit here. I'm going to do an atom array for the O. So we just grab our atom array from up here. We make our group, which is going to be an O. I'm just going to take the U out and the O here. Put that in there. And the O's look like really weird, especially if you enable the singular element. It's going to lag as well. So I don't recommend you do that. It looks better like this. And you also get this effect there, which also adds quite a bit of depth to your text. So definitely something I'd recommend. because text is cool. I know, whenever I do 2D text, it looks horrible. It's only ever worked like once or twice, so I do 3D text on a more constant basis because it's something that I'm comfortable with and I prefer the look of. So with this, I'm just going to do fillet cap, engraved. Have it so it's like that. So it seems to be a bit all over the place, so I'm going to actually have the R going up a bit and go forwards and make it a bit larger so it pops. And the eye would go probably back quite a bit, go behind the R, and I would, yeah, just a fillet cap, engraved. It's a bit close, so I'm going to rotate it sideways. Oh, that looks good. And then we have our A, so I'm going to do an atom array for the A. Make the group A, atom array up here, and then we drag our A to the atom array. Go single, no, not single elements, we change this to 1, and we have our A. So this is kind of what it's looking like at the moment. We can zoom in actually quite a bit, because this L is going to go about here. And we just have fillet cap, engraved. And I want to bring this closer to the A. So that's kind of what it's looking like at the moment. I like to have a greater ratio of the little things on the engraved fillet caps to the atom arrays, just because atom arrays don't look good in greater amounts of proportion. So yeah, greater amounts of proportion, like larger amounts, so I like to have them in smaller amounts. So here we have the materials. Sometimes I like to go to texture, Photoshop pack, and I literally just got some textures off the internet. It's not very difficult. Where it says MIP, you just press none. Mix strength, and you change that so it's nice. The white also looks really nice if you add kind of like a metallic kind of thing, but that's all down to you. So now it's time to kind of like add the materials to our text. So what you want to do is, so you have your mats down here. I'm going to add actually a warp quickly, just to make it look quite a bit nicer. We don't want it to look stretched, because stretched text looks bad. You can rotate it and it'll go up like that. Sometimes the letters may glitch, so you just want to move them either backwards or forwards, depending on what you want them to look like. But like, as long as you can clearly see all the letters, that's all you really want, to be honest. So I'm pretty sure I can see all the letters clearly, which is what you want with text. Like, you want it to be clear, otherwise it doesn't look as good. So the T is not so clear, so I'm just gonna go onto the outer bits and go like that a bit, and this bit widen it, and where it says tension, you want to lower this so it looks a bit better. There you go. So next we're just going to add in materials. So for the atom array, I'm going to have the atom array T. I'm going to have the main T, that colour, and add a blue to that. And you normally want to have this cubic. Cubic looks the best in my opinion. With these it gets a tiny bit trickier, but I'm going to have a white outlines with blue being the main attraction, so you just want to change this to, so it says selection, and you press type C1, and that'll mean it's only in this front bit here, which I like a lot. It's one of my favourite things about, like, a really handy feature that I use a lot. You can just drag the materials about over here, C1 again. Then with the O, I'm going to have a blue outline yet again, and then the white inside. So I like to vary it, randomize it, so it doesn't get all repetitive, so it looks better. And then for the R, I'm going to have it like this, so something like that. And what some people like to do is they add blocks, and it looks really nice. But I don't really like to add blocks because with my style it doesn't look as good. So yeah, that's just what I like to do. Everybody has their own personal preference, and this is just my personal preference. So I'm also going to have a Photoshop part of this, which is going to be in the same video, so look forward to that. So we're gonna, let's see what we can do with the eye. I'm going to do blue, then white, C1, like that, and then for L we're going to have it the same, so, oh, has to be capital, so that's what our text is looking like. Oh dear, what have I done? Let me make a camera there, and delete this old one. So there's our text here. I like the look of it, so I'm going to render it out. I think it's Monday's settings. I don't know why I don't use the given settings with my Lightroom. I just don't like them, apparently. But I'm going to render this text out, maybe do a couple finalizing things like bring up this T. But overall, I like the look of this text. I'm going to move on to the Photoshop part once it's finished rendering. That's the button you press to render it, by the way. So I'll get back to you once it's finished rendering, and I'll be with you in Photoshop. Okay, so I'm here in Photoshop. So there are a few different packs, like Photoshop packs that I like to use. My wonderful desktop. There's the bump pack, which I recently bought, and it's such a good pack. I really like it. It's probably my favourite pack at the moment, because it's just got so much good stuff in it. Yeah. So, in here it's got some textures, so this one I'm going to probably use. And then there are other ones. So this one's going to be the best, I think. So you duplicate it, you size it so it's the size of your text, and then press overlay, so it overlays itself over the text. And then if you just turn down the opacity a bit, it looks better. And if you control click on your text and press select inverse, you can delete all the excess which you don't need, and make a group called text. So that's my text layer. I can, like, the things that don't look as, so the parts that don't look as good. So let's see. So yes, it looks good all around on the little texture thing. So I like to go to blending options, and I have some presets which I pretty much use all the time. Sometimes they don't look good, so I take away some of the features of it. So this one I just get rid of the satin, and the color overlay I'd turn down, and the gradient a tiny bit, and position it so it's a tiny bit better, because that T was a bit bright, and just tone down the glowing edges so it looks nice and clean. Next, you press Ctrl J to duplicate it. You go filters, filter gallery, and I like to add glowing edges to my text. It makes it pop a tiny bit more. There are multiple things that you can do for it with this. So you could go like this, go normal, make sure it's beneath. And there was, I don't know how to do it because I've never done it before, but you can have it so it looks really nice and it's like got the outlines. It's just amazing. I don't know how to do it, but my brushes are 100% opacity. Oh dear. So I normally like to either go through, make sure this is overlay, or I just like to tone down the opacity to like 20 to 30%. That always looks nice. And I go filters, filter gallery, artistic plastic wrap, overlay, yet again, and turn it down quite a bit more because plastic wrap, too much of it looks horrible. So next, I'm probably going to add some flares because flares always look amazing. So let's see, flares from here. Here we go. This one's a nice flare. Go text render, and we drag this to where we want it. So the R is the main point, so it's obviously going to have the flare thing. So I'm just going to duplicate that. I could have it on the L as well, but I'm just going to have it on the bottom point. Actually, no, I'm going to have it. No, just one. Just one looks nice. So that's like the text so far. It's not done. We could add CCs. I don't actually use preset CCs. I make my own. So I'll kind of show you. So you go down here to this button. You go curves. You drop it. If you want a night CC, I don't normally use curves for day CCs, but it's all down to personal preference. I also like to tone down the vibrance a bit, maybe draw out a tiny bit of the colour. Not too much so it looks absolutely disgusting, but just a tiny bit of the colour, so like -3. I like to add a gradient map, so we got that, and we add another one, but we have it so it's this default one. And we select both of them, and we set them both to overlay, and we just simply tone down that overlay, the opacity. We can also have color lookup. For some reason, some of mine don't work, but this one's going to look quite nice. And we also have a photo filter here. If I go too fast at any point, I really do apologize. But turn down the opacity on that as well, because sometimes it can be over the top. And something I very rarely do, but I'm going to do for this tutorial, just because it looks nice, is I'm going to go to Distort and Displace. Then I go to Photoshop packs. I don't know if I'll try and remember to leave the elegant displacement map in the description for you guys. If I forget, you can scream at me in the comments. But you can just use the arrow keys to position it so it's nice, and I get rid of the parts which don't look as nice. So I set my brush to 100% opacity, down the size a little bit, so right here it doesn't look very nice. I like how it looks up here though, a tiny bit over here. I'm going to make a black background. So just get this color overlay. And actually grey looks fine. Will do. So you have tiny bits here, but here it looks a bit weird, so I'm just going to delete those bits there. And looks a bit weird there, but like the rest of this, it has like little bits coming off, and it looks really nice. Something I like to do on the odd occasion. I also like to use Hansel Pack V3. I did add some things to it because I just felt like, but I can't release it because it is Hansel's pack. So these are both paid packs. I both paid for them. Grammar. Close that. Let's see. Here, sword swipes, and you can. Which one's the best? This one's the best, I find, for like having on text. So you just duplicate it, you put it with your text, you enlarge it, and because I want it the other way around, I go to Edit, Transform, and Flip Horizontal, and that looks like the Nike tick, to be honest. So I need to drag it there. You can go edit, transform, warp. I want to drag this bit up a tiny bit more and drag it out, and drag this bit a tiny bit down. There we go. And because there's too much up here, I'm going to tone down the opacity of my little eraser that I have here, and I'm just going to like go over and delete a tiny bit of it, so it looks a bit better. So it looks like it's actually like on top of something, and with our background we can actually add a bit of gradient overlay. I know it's completely irrelevant, but why not? So it looks a tiny bit better, our background. So I think that's it really for text. So hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. But otherwise guys, peace out. Thanks for watching.